Hey everyone, Venruki here. Just bringing you a quick little video about Conduit Energy and a problem that I have with it. This is something I've talked about quite a bit. I've sent out, multiple tweets, and it's something I feel very strongly about because I feel like it's one of those things in Shadowlands that only exists to limit people's fun. And as I explain more and more, that'll become increasingly more clear. I do believe. Now, for a lot of you guys, if you only play one specialization and you only play one aspect of the game, this might not matter to you. So let's say you're a fire mage and all you do is PvP. You probably don't even know Conduit Energy exists, or if you do know it exists, it probably has never been an issue for you. But I'd like, or you're, a PvE player that only raids and you only play, Frost and raid, or you're only a Resto Druid in the raid, and then you probably never switch your conduits, right? Because you just have a best in slot and you don't really have to worry about it other than that. And if you do, sometimes maybe you want to switch it up and you want to do like a Mythic Plus or something, you probably haven't run into a problem. But for someone like me and a lot of other players, the fun in the game is switching between my specializations. So I like playing Fire, I like playing Frost, and I like playing Arcane. And I just want to quickly go over 3 different scenarios I found myself in where the Conduit Energy system really wasn't working out. And it basically just limited my ability to play the game the way I wanted. And it was really, really unfun. So when Castle Nathria first came out, I wanted to PvP during the day. And then at night, I wanted to raid as Frost. Now, I already had to go, get a PvP legendary for Fire, and then I'd have to go get a different legendary if I wanted to play Frost. So there was already that barrier to entry. I had to go farm the best in slot conduits for PvP Fire and the best in slot conduits for PvE Frost. The gearing, trinkets, etc., etc., etc. So there was already that barrier to entry to play the different specs. But then Conduit Energy compounded the problem because basically, if I wanted to play, just as a quick example, if I wanted to PvP as Fire, it was absolutely necessary that I had Infernal Cascade. It's such such a crazy amount of damage that if you don't have it, you're at a massive disadvantage. But on the flip side, during the evening when I wanted to raid, I had to have Icy Propulsion because it is the most insane conduit ever. So there's two conduits that are absolutely necessary in the aspect of the game I wanted to play, but I couldn't switch between them freely. If I raided 2 nights a week, I wasn't able to actually switch my conduits. So I was finding that I was basically forced to continue to play Fire because I didn't have the Conduit Energy available to raid as Frost, and that just didn't make any sense to me. So that was the first time I kind of realized it was an issue. The second time I kind of realized it was an issue is when Frost became more viable in PvP, and even I wanted to play Arcane. Let's say when I turned on my stream in the morning, I wanted to mess around and play like some Frost Mage in 2s, or I wanted to play some Arcane Mage in 2s. And then in the evening, I wanted to switch over and play Fire. It wasn't possible to do that. I was running out of Conduit Energy. I couldn't get Infernal Cascade for the evening in 3s. And if I did decide, to heck with it, I just won't play with conduits, you're putting yourself at a huge disadvantage. And it really, to me, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So when I was making the transition from PvP to PvE, it was a problem. Even for myself, when I wanted to play the 3 different specializations that I had available, it was a problem. And lastly, yesterday, I decided, you know what? I'm actually going to make the switch. I put a lot of time into playing Venthyr, but I decided I want to play the best Covenant for mages in general. So I switched over to Night Fae, and I killed myself. I didn't kill myself, but I worked really hard to get my renown up. And then I realized I don't have Conduit Energy to even put in conduits. So, I got my renown up to 23 in a day. In 2 days, realistically. Yesterday when I was playing, I only had enough Conduit Energy to put in 1 Infernal Cascade. Today, I got my second Discipline of the Grove. But in order to just fill out this tree, I have to wait another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days just to get the conduits available to play PvP optimally. I had to wait almost a week. Now, what makes matters even crazier is if I want to play Frost, how long do I have to wait? Like if I want to put in my endurance conduit and I want to put in, finesse conduit, and then I want to use another endurance conduit. Okay, that's 3 days. And then let's say, okay, well, I want to play Frost. Now I have to plan in 5 days that I can switch my conduits. Now I know Blizzard has the idea, or the developers have the idea that they want you to switch between Naya, Dreamweaver and Corian as examples, but this just doesn't practically work out. Like players, like for PvP as an example, Dreamweaver is the best. There's no question about it. Everyone plays Dreamweaver. And if I want to play the best Soulbind, I have to play Dreamweaver. So even if in a perfect world I have, Corian set up for Arcane and Naya set up for Fire and Dreamweaver set up for Frost, I'm still forced to disadvantage myself to just play the spec that I want, which is really unsatisfying. And to be honest, I don't get why they have this limitation. I mean, if you want to extrapolate the idea further, why don't we have cooldowns on switching our talents? Like maybe we should only be able to switch our talents like twice a day. If it takes talent energy to switch to Glacial Spike, or it takes talent energy to switch to Ray of Frost, or maybe just even switching between Fire, Arcane, and Frost should have like a 1-day cooldown, right? Because I mean, that's kind of what it is. If I want to play my spec optimally, I have to have the proper conduits, but I just can't switch them because I don't have enough conduit energy. So why not just have a limitation? Obviously, I'm being incredibly, I don't want this, just to be clear. I'm just saying, I don't see why it's any different. Why don't we put a cooldown on, switching between Frost, Fire, and Arcane? Why isn't there a cooldown on switching your talents? Well, maybe you should only be able to, switch up your trinkets while you're in a rested area. Like the reason why these limitations don't exist is because players want to be able to switch their gear. They want to be able to switch their talents. They want to be able to switch their specialization. And this new system of conduit energy, it just reminds me of playing Classic and not having enough gold to switch between, PvE Frost Arcane and then being able to switch back to PvP during the day. Like there's a reason why they got rid of all these systems, yet for some reason they're adding that limitation once again through the conduit system. And it's become really frustrating for me. And I mean, I've tweeted about it a few times, and these tweets, this one has 600 likes. This one I made a few days ago. This one has, 800 likes, where I'm just complaining that I can't switch between Fire and Frost even daily without playing suboptimal conduits. And, a lot of people feel the exact same way as I do, and they're frustrated the exact same way as I am. So I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on it. I also just wanted people to see this video because I'm so confused by conduit energy. Now, I don't want to just sit here and complain without offering a solution. Now, to me, the most obvious solution is just get rid of conduit energy. That's the best. Get rid of conduit energy. The fact that I have to come back to my Covenant Hall and click on this thing, that's enough of a deterrent. Like, with your talents, you can be in a rested area or you can use the tomb. You have to be out of combat to switch your gear. It's the same thing with switching your specialization. For conduits, it's already the most annoying because you have to come to this specific area in order to switch. Okay. And I feel like for me, that's enough of, that's enough. I don't know why it would require something like conduit energy to switch. It just doesn't make any sense to me. However, if there is for some reason, like I've heard the argument, or I've heard the idea that they don't want people to switch their conduits for every single fight in the raid. What I would first say to that is people already do things like that, right? Like people are already switching, what legendary they're playing. As a Frost Mage, you change your talents, you change the legendary you're running, maybe you change the trinkets you're running. People are already doing that, right? Not everyone is, but there are players that are min-maxing, and for some people, that's a lot of the fun in the game. But if you really want to have a deterrent on people switching their conduits, can we at least get like the conduit energy cooldown down to like 2 hours or 1 hour or something like that? So people, maybe they can't switch every 10 minutes, but I feel like I should at least be able to switch between the specs that I want to play daily. Am I crazy? Like I feel like I'm taking crazy pills here. And the idea that I'm going to have, Naya, Dreamweaver, and Corian set up for the different specializations is just not practical, and it's also not fun. People are just opting to just not play different specs. If someone's a Feral Druid, they don't even want to try Resto because it's going to put, their conduits on cooldown, and they're going to have to play suboptimally, which no one wants to do. So anyways, that's my rant. That's the video. I hope if you guys have never experienced this problem, you can kind of see where I'm coming from. If this is something that frustrates you, I definitely love to hear about it, but I really think this is something that should get fixed for 905. Like, I really hope it gets fixed for 905, because at this point, this system is just limiting my ability to just enjoy the game. Like, it's a pointless limitation, and it just makes it so I can't play what I want, which is really, really sad, because it's no different than having a cooldown on switching your talents, switching your specialization. There should be a cooldown on switching your gear. Like, yeah, once again, to reiterate, there's a reason those things don't exist. Anyways, if you guys like the video, like the video. Thanks for watching, and as always, we'll see you next time. Thank you.